Welcome back to Skippers, presented by Owners Box Fantasy Sports. Today's segment, another good one, waiver wire pickups for Week 4 fantasy baseball. We're going to give you 6 players, 3 each on guys on the waiver wire that we think you should pick up, help you win. Jarrett, right into it. Your 3 guys first.
Yep. So I got, I'm going to name them off here and then kind of explain why I picked them. I got Kendall Graveman, 27% relief pitcher on Seattle. I got Kike Hernandez, Boston, 20% rostered. And then Joe Ross, 8% rostered on Washington. First, I'll go with Graveman. Ave, we've talked about him. It's looking like he's getting the opportunities in Seattle, and with saves being such a questionable category this year, especially with people doing that sort of committee role. Graveman is definitely a big pickup, and he hasn't led a run this year. You look at kind of the speed. I mean, he's throwing 3 miles per hour faster. His sinker's at 96.3 and his fastball's at 97 miles per hour compared to 94 last year. So he really relies on the sinker, and like you look at where he's throwing it, he's not even throwing it anywhere special. It's just the thing has a lot of movement, and throwing that 96.3 definitely makes it a very valuable pitch. So that is my highest percentage owned waiver wire pickup.
I mean, Kendall Graveman used to be a Jays guy way back in the day as a starter, throwing like 91. But yeah, he seems to be the guy in the Seattle. Big save against Baltimore the other day. I mean, when they've given him the chances, he's run with it. So I think he's going to be their guy for right now. So good pick there, Jerry.
Another guy who I picked up actually like 2 weeks ago is Kike Hernandez. I am big on him. He had a very slow start. He's hitting 1 in Boston's lineup. I believe he's played 9 of the 10 games this year. I mean, he has multiple eligibility on Yahoo. You look at him hitting the ball, he's crushing the ball right now. I mean, he has an 89 exit velo, a 12.8 barrel percentage. He's not getting the luck. He's not getting the right side of the ball here. His average right now is 216, but his expected average is 279. I do feel like 20% is very low for a player like him who has multiple eligibility. I'll keep him on my bench and I'll fill him in when people aren't playing, but I do really love this pickup. This is probably my favorite out of the 3.
You've been trying to get Kike on a show for weeks now, so I'm glad you could finally do that, Jer. I'm happy for you. But I mean, he's hitting 1 in the lineups. Like Boston seems like another team of destiny team. Like the way they've been winning games so far, 9-game win streak or 8-game win streak they had, just snapped by Minnesota. I think it's a good pick. If you're going to be at the top of the lineup and you get on base, you are going to score runs. It's just how it works, man.
Yes. And Verdugo's been he's been stepping it up. He's been hitting better. And when everyone is heading better, then it just comes with more runs for Kike, obviously hitting 1.
Absolutely.
My last one is a little bit of a flyer. I've been eyeing him out after his first start, and then he goes and pitches 6 scoreless against the Cardinals, and that's Joe Ross. This is a guy who used to be really good back in the day, probably like 4 or 5 years ago. And then he's been terrible for 4 years, some injury issues, but he's been looking good. I mean, you looking at his exit, I mean, his velocity on his pitches, and it's actually gone down. But what I like is that he is like literally painting the corners, which is something that you love to see. I don't really care about velocity I'll take that hit if he can control his pitches. Looking at his matchups, I mean, he's playing the Cardinals again. Should be interesting. I'm not a big pitch a guy, start him, especially the bottom level tier sort of starting pitchers against the same team again. There's a chance that that's not the greatest matchup that I like. So I might just kind of store him, see how he does in that matchup. And then next start would be a definite start. But and then he's playing the Mets. So I like him against the Mets. The Mets lineup isn't very good. Hitting wise, they haven't been hitting good at all. So Joe Ross, 8%. I think that he's a great sort of streamer on the waiver wire market.
Yeah, if you have him for like 1 start this week, he's probably gonna have 2 starts the next week. So make sure you check in and stuff like that. But Joe Ross is really good prospect, good with the Padres. Now he's in Washington. Turn it on. Hopefully a nice little bounce back campaign for him. Let's get into my guys. My 3 guys, I'll go through them. Jazz Chisholm, obviously electric, love him. Lou Trivino and Taijuan Walker. So first, Jazz Chisholm, Miami Marlins, shortstop, or second baseman, 24% rostered. He's going to have shortstop eligibility very soon, but an absolutely electric start for him. Run through his stats. 258 average isn't great, but 998 OPS and a 316 batting average on balls in play. For second baseman, he already has 2 home runs and 3 stolen bases. This is a guy who has legit 2020 potential, maybe even 25-25 if he can figure out a way to get that done. Swing and missing a lot, which is kind of trend you see with young players coming up for the first time. But I mean, for a second base position, having the speed and power combo is something that you love. So you go through a stat cast. Oh, also, I think he's going to move up in that lineup really soon. If he hits like 1 and then Starling Marte hits 2, that's amazing for Jazz Chisholm. But he's hitting 6 right now, and he's doing all the damage from the 6 hole, which kind of doesn't suit his game too well. So I think if they move him up, he's going to do really well. If we look at his StatCast, he's above the 85th percentile in average exit velocity, max exit velocity, hard hit percentage, barrel percentage, and sprint speed. I mean, it's just a combo that you love to watch. He's electric, a guy you want to have on your team. If you like watching all your fantasy players every night, this is a guy who you want to watch. It's just fun. So Jazz Chisholm, I also met him before. So, I mean, I played with his cousin in college. So kind of helps a little bit.
Bonus marks.
Yeah, bonus marks. Your thoughts on Jazz Chisholm?
Yeah, I mean, I like what you said about like hype and players with hype that people want them more, and this is exactly kind of the definition of a guy that
fantasy sports should be fun. Like,
yeah, it should be fun.
Too.
I would rather have him than someone that doesn't provide any energy. I mean, we saw what he did with
like Paul DeYoung on the Cardinals. I'm taking Jazz Chisholm over Paul DeYoung.
Like, yeah, 100%. I do agree though with that. I 100% agree that I would rather pick a guy that I'm going to see on the highlights. You know, like I've probably seen Jazz like 4 or 5 times when I'm turning on the TV, and it's like it's another highlight, like the DeGrom high heater. Obviously he guessed on the pitch, but who isn't guessing on when DeGrom's pitching 102 miles per hour? Yeah. But I think that rolled on the TV for a while. But no, I like this pick. I mean, he's exciting. I mean, the Marlins have speed in that lineup. That is just like adding Jazz just adds another level. Starling Marte is showing that age isn't really affecting him. He's still swiping bags. So I like that pick.
For sure. Next guy, we'll do a little more closer help. That's Lou Trivino of the Oakland A's, only 18% rostered. He's now the Oakland A's closer. Rosenthal out for the year, I'm pretty sure. I know he's hurt. He's out for a while. And then Jake Diekman just doesn't really seem to be the guy that Bob Melvin has in his closer role. So Lou Trivino got the save Tuesday night against the Diamondbacks in his only appearance this week. 8 2/3 innings pitched so far, 1.04 ERA. 0.69 whip, nice, and a 30.1% called strike and whiff rate. I mean, just an electric start for Lou Trivino, guy you need to pick up if you need help with saves. I mean, if you're struggling with saves, this is like a big thing for you. So if you can get Lou Trivino on your roster, I think you should do it.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about saves, and it's just a disaster. Like, it's just like, you know, we're trying to help people. Obviously, a lot of people have been struggling finding saves, and we have personally in the FSGA league. So we've done a little more research on who we think that can kind of be like, I guess, like you would call them underdogs or undervalued kind of guys that will get saves. But it's a great option. I mean, Rosenthal obviously is injured, and he's not coming back anytime soon. So obviously, Luis has been pitching well, so I love that pick.
All right, my third guy, former J again, Taijuan Walker, New York Mets, 26% rostered. He had a sneaky great 2020 with a 2.72 ERA, and he's building on that early again. Thing I like from Taijuan Walker is his fastball is up 2 miles an hour to start the year. If you're getting those velo jumps early in the year, you're going to build on those. You usually see that when it gets nice and hot. He's playing in New York too. Weather's not great. You know, I'm his pitcher. Like, you hated throwing in the cold weather, but those velo jumps are real if you're doing it then. And this is also leading to a 32.3% called strike and whiff rate, which is really high for him. He's a great ratio guy for like your categories league. Goes deep into games while keeping his ERA low, just something you love. Not a huge strikeout guy, but the strikeout numbers are really up. If these strikeout rates continue, he's a must add, I think, for your teams. Hopefully he hasn't had a win yet. He's gone deep in games. He had a 6-inning start and like 4 2/3, which isn't deep at all, but kind of struggled in that one a little bit. 12 strikeouts, 10 1/3 innings pitched, 2.61 ERA, and 1.16 whip. For a starter, I love that. Taijuan Walker, I think he's just going to keep building another solid season.
Yeah, he's a big body. I mean, a lot of Jays guys wanted him back. I would have personally liked him back, but it's tough though that with that division it's such a competitive division now that the Marlins, like, they're a pretty strong team. The offense is looking pretty good, which is something I didn't really expect. But Chaz obviously coming up adds another element to that offense. So I think I would pick him and probably stream him. I don't know about you, Abe. Would you stream him against good matchups, or do you think that he's gained the respect to start him every game?
I mean, he's on automatic start for me. Guys off the waiver wire aren't usually automatic starts right away if you're in deeper leagues. So this is a guy you kind of monitor like your first week. I don't start on the first week usually. Unless there's a really bad matchup. I haven't looked at his matchups this week. But yeah, if he has like an easy matchup, then I'll probably throw him in there. But this is a guy you need to monitor, then start him sporadically during the season.
Love that.
Anything more from you, Jer?
No, make sure you sub, make sure you comment. Let us know who you're picking up this week, waiver wire. We want to know.
Yeah, appreciate it, fellas. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next time.